Hi, and welcome to the ABQ show. I'm the host, Wally Drangmeister, and our guest today is a student that I've had the pleasure of knowing for over 10 years. His name is Antonio Villegas, but I just call him Tone. Tone, great to have you on the ABQ show.
It's great to be here.
Okay, so Tone, tell our viewers how we met.
We met through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. We've known each other for over 10 years, like Wally was saying. We took a survey and we matched up the best, so they put us together and we've been Big Brothers ever since.
Now, I don't know, I think I told you this, but not recently. When they were like saying, okay, well, we have this guy and his name's Antonio, he's really cool, but he likes to talk a lot. And I said, well, I'm okay with that. And they no, really, he likes to talk. I go, believe me, we'll be fine. And we've had 10 years of good conversation since you were like, what was like about third grade?
About third grade.
Yeah, up and through
7.
now. Yeah, so we've had a great time.
Yeah, it's been very interesting. You know, the Big Brothers Big Sisters program has really helped me. You know, it really gave me this very great mentor. You know, like he's always been there for me for like everything, no matter what I was going through. He was always there to help me out and just be there as a big brother. And I really appreciate you, Wally.
Well, Tone, I appreciate being your big brother, and and I tell this story all the time too about, we went to that thing once where they had like a guy who was like 60 and his big brother was like 80. You know what I mean? And so obviously since the program, they kept in touch all these years later. And you told me something that I think I'll remember, and I think will be true. You said that's going to be us when we're old, so we'll be buddies for the rest of our life. I have a feeling.
Yeah, me too. And I wanted to be the longest running big brother in the Big Brother Big Sister program, and I always wanted that. That's like one of my goals, is to have the longest running relationship, and I hope that happens.
All right. Well, I'll take good care of myself. So if I can make it till 90, you'll be able to hang in there. Okay.
Of course.
Okay. Now, tell me. I know you're getting ready to graduate. Tell us what high school you're going to and what that experience is, and then a little bit about any future plans you have.
Well, I go to Tierra Dentro of New Mexico. It's a flamenco school, and it's a really good. It really helped me get ready for college. So I'm actually going to start at CNM, and I'm going for psychology. I'm trying to get a psychology degree to start my own practice and become a therapist, because that's like my biggest goal. Like you said, I love talking and I love to listen, and that's what I always wanted to do. So that's the biggest goal that I have right now, is to become a therapist, start my own practice, and just excel as far as I can with what I'm given.
So the flamenco school, it's basically performing flamenco, and tell us about that aspect of it and where you think that might. You're a guitarist, right? So
Yes.
So how is your guitar coming, and is that something you're planning to continue as a hobby, or where do you think that fits in the future?
Well, I've been playing guitar for over 8 to 9 years now, and it's been one of my biggest things. I've always loved music and just being a musician. So moving to this flamenco school, it really helped me excel in guitar like I never would have thought of.
Right.
So I think I'm gonna keep it as a hobby. Like,
Right.
of course, like I still want to do it because it's a great practice, and I love guitar with like everything. I love music in general, so I believe that it's going to be one of my hobbies that I'm going to carry throughout life. So I thank Tandem for really cementing guitar in my life.
Yes. Now, even though it's like a performing arts kind of focus, the academics has been good for you otherwise, right? Tell me, kind of how the rest of that all plays through in terms of getting you ready to go to college.
Well, I think the academics of that school are very good. I used to go to another school before that, and it did not prepare me for college at all. It didn't prepare me to go. But this school, they really are student oriented. They really care about the student. They really care about what they can do for you. They're always trying to keep you up to date, have everything ready for you to succeed outside of school.
Yes.
And I really appreciate that about that school. I've never seen anything like that in any other school I've went to before.
Right. Now, how many kids more or less go to that school?
I think around 300 to 400
Yeah.
kids, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big deal. So, All right. So, in addition to kind of the traditional flamenco guitar, what are you into these days? In addition to that, or is that really the focus? Or there some other kind of styles that you kind of play around with? And do you hit any of those power chords doing some hard rock ever? So,
I do. I really love I really love to play some classical. Besides
Yeah.
flamenco, I
Yeah.
also love the branch out from the classical Spanish guitar as well.
yes.
And then I also like reggae, so I also like to play the good old reggae chords like Bob Marley, like the main ones, So those are the ones that I do,
All right. So let's talk about way back when, and just because if you don't mind, and I know I make you tell this story a lot. So back when we first started in Big Brothers Big Sisters, we were like at a community program, which was an after-school program, and I'd go meet with you there and do stuff. And I remember you got in trouble one day, and we actually had to sit in timeout until I got to talk to you that day. So
yeah. Yeah, I used to go to a community center down in the downtown area,
Yeah.
So one time when I was younger, I was I really needed to use the restroom,
Yeah.
So
And you're like a third grader,
so
so
yeah, I was a third grade, The school was already far, everyone was leaving, so I ran across the street with a red light, everything, and I just wanted to go use the restroom. I ran there, used the restroom, and they came and looked at me and were like, "Hey, you can't do that anymore. Now you got to sit in timeout." And it was just like, why do I have to sit in timeout? It's like I just needed the restroom. It's a human behavior,
Yeah. Well, what are some of the things? I have a lot of memories. Tell us what are some of the things you enjoyed about Big Brothers and Big Sisters that we did. I mean, I know we went to a lot of movies. We went to eat. Is there anything that kind of sticks out in your mind that you really enjoyed over the years? We've gotten to work with each other, be friends.
Well, I think some of the things that I remember the most is that you taught me how to fish. You taught me how to play golf. Like these things I never would have done at all because and I didn't realize how fun those like sports would be. Like I didn't understand like fishing would be such a fun thing to do on your weekdays.
Yeah.
I didn't know that golf would be such good. And even going into the movies and stuff, it was just like this program really helped me get like to always have a friend no matter where I was in life. And it was just like I could always call you and we could always go somewhere. We'd go to the mall together. We would hang out, and it was always a fun time with the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. It was real great.
Well, and that that's a very well run program. They check in with you, they check in with me, with your family, and I guess what does happen a lot of times is that some of the matches have a little harder time communicating.
Yeah.
We always had stuff to talk about. We still do, right?
All the time.
Yeah.
And I think that like with our match, I feel like it was a very good match, especially like during that time in my life. I was young, I didn't really have like a father, growing up and stuff like that. So it was really good to have that like that figure in my life that I could look up to and like be able to be able to just have someone to talk to outside of my own family.
Yes.
So it was
because your family is great, but family, sometimes a little perspective is helpful, right?
Especially I come from a family of just primarily women, so
Yes.
I have maybe a couple guys in my family, but it was really good to have a real concrete role model in my life,
All right. Well, no, that's awesome. So psychology, guitar. I know that you like a lot of people. You have you like YouTube videos and you have a great sense of humor. One of the things I always appreciated was you'd show me some fun stuff on the internet. You know what I mean? Yeah. I really do appreciate that a lot. You exposed some stuff to me, and we do have a project that we never kind of got off the ground that we might want to do one of these days. Do you remember what it was?
It was to build a computer together.
Yes.
And I still want to do that, definitely. That's one of my things is I always wanted to build a computer and like be able to say, yeah, I built this computer. Me and my big brother. So yeah, I'm still willing to do that.
Yeah, no, I think there's time, and I built one that was a real low-end computer for something that was real specific, and so I think we're gonna have to build a little bit better one if you build something. So
yeah.
Okay, so when is graduation for you? Coming up here pretty quick?
Yeah, I believe it's May 20th.
Yeah.
I think we're doing it at the Kiva Theater, and it's gonna be a pretty big graduation. I think especially with the kids there, a lot of family. You know, it's
Yeah.
gonna be amazing. It's my first time graduating. You know, so it's gonna be pretty fun, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for me. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So when is school going to start for you? Are you going to go this summer? Are you going to work again this summer and get a little bit going before then? What's the plans coming up right after you graduate?
I'm gonna take a couple classes, college classes during the summer, so I could really be prepared for college coming the fall season. You know, so I could have like my foot in the water and just be able to like already have that worker's mentality and be able to just get ready for college, you know?
Yeah. All right. So one of these years, hopefully be a psychologist, counselor. It sounds like that is the direction you're going. And I just want to say this is not the last we'll see of each other, because they're going to graduate. Once you graduate, we're no longer technically in the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. But look forward to it. And as you know, you got my phone number. I call you up. You can call me anytime. But really proud of you, Tone. Looking forward to your graduation ceremony, and we're looking forward to you getting to college and doing great things. All right?
All right.
All right. Very nice to talk with you
It was
today.
very nice to talk to you too.
All right. We've been visiting with Antonio Villegas, a.k.a. Tone, my little brother, for just a few more weeks here on the ABQ show. When we come back, we'll be visiting with Steve Davis, the owner of ProView Networks, about some of his background as a follow-up from an interview we did a few weeks ago. Stay tuned.
What is glamour? Frailty. What is desire? Diamonds. They say a life lived without passion is hardly worth living.
Ma'am? Ma'am? Ma'am?
Dang, this one made me feel all special.
Locally loved restaurants like Farina Pizzeria, Farina Alto, and the Artichoke Cafe are the perfect venue for your next event. Farina Alto has traditional Italian food, plus handcrafted cocktails in a beautiful Northeast Heights location. Farina Pizzeria with a downtown vibe, amazing affordable wines, and local beer. And the Artichoke Cafe has set the standard for casual fine dining since 1989. Visit our family of restaurants and see what fine dining is all about.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walk up to the cashier, order up a root beer and a #1. Cover it with green stuff, one scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Sports Network.
The New Mexico High School Coaches Association, established in 1941, is an organization of New Mexico's best and most professional interscholastic coaches. Coaches across work daily to help our student athletes excel in the classroom, on the field of play, and in our communities. Students that participate in interscholastic activities attain higher grades, higher graduation rates, and higher wages. Responsible for the North-South All-Star Games, statewide Coaches Award Program, and providing multiple professional development opportunities for New Mexico's coaches. Be a great coach by coaching beyond the game.
At New Mexico Highlands University, you're more than a student, you're family. Whether you're taking courses in Las Vegas, Santa Fe, Rio Rancho, Albuquerque, or Farmington, you'll get that one-on-one attention to inspire you to reach your goals. Let New Mexico Highlands help take your passion and accelerate it into a career and fulfilling life path. Find out why New Mexico Highlands is the right choice for you. Log on to NewMexicoHighlands.com today.
Sadie's is a proud supporter of New Mexico high school sports and athletics, and we here at ProView Networks would like to thank Sadie's for their continued support in helping us bring you all of your New Mexico high school sports coverage.
Dream Style Remodeling has been wowing homeowners in New Mexico since 1989. Selected as Best Custom Home Remodeler for 3 consecutive years by readers of the Albuquerque Journal, we're also your exclusive provider for top home improvement brands like Renewal by Anderson, Four Seasons, Blaze King, and many others. Founded and headquartered in Albuquerque, Dream Style Remodeling is family-owned and now employs more than 500 people across the southwestern U.S. In fact, we've helped more than 60,000 homeowners improve their home in New Mexico, Arizona, California, Idaho, and West Texas. We're committed to providing a superior customer experience. We've earned 4.6 stars with hundreds of online reviews and have an A+ with the BBB. Dream Style Remodeling is a proud supporter of UNM Athletics. Visit our beautiful 10,000 square foot showroom at 1460 Renaissance Boulevard across from Sam's Club, or dreamstyleremodeling.com to make your home remodeling dreams come true.
Welcome back to the ABQ show. I'm your host, Wally Drangmeister, and I have in the studio with me the owner of ProView Networks. And when Steve Davis talked to you a little bit more. We got to talk a lot about business. I got a lot of great feedback from that show, but I didn't get to ask you a few questions. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about your history, both academically, athletically, and a little bit about where it started. So thanks for coming back.
Well, thanks again for, again, very humbled to be on your show two times in 2 weeks. And we don't need to talk about the academic part of it.
Okay.
Well, just kidding.
You made it.
I got through. But,
C's get degrees is one statement that some people used to tell me, so I bet it was a little better than that. Maybe not.
Right. No, it's all good. It's all good. I'll just let you be the host.
Well, talk about your high school experience. I know you grew up in Clovis. Talk about what your experience was in high school and how that led to where you made it.
I'll even go further with that. I'll go back to my junior high and my grade school and the whole thing. Clovis, is probably like all the smaller towns on the east side of the state and all small towns across the whole New Mexico state it's community around sports and athletics. Yeah. Okay, so and activities. Yes. So band and cheerleading and volleyball. I mean, you name it. I don't think you could have a better, in Clovis or any of the smaller cities in the state, you can have a better atmosphere to play sports. And so I was very fortunate to and played baseball when I was younger, played football, but it was like a little different than it is today. It was like, basically it was, you played football in football season, then you went straight to basketball, then you went to track or baseball, and then you just did that almost all the way up to your sophomore year. And then I think we were the first, my era would be the area when people started specializing in one sport, and that's where as a sophomore, I specialized in basketball, and now it has set the trend. That's right. A lot of people have, a lot of student athletes have chosen that route and play their sport year round.
So back then, when you're playing basketball, what were the summers like, the off season? I know now there's the AAU. There's a lot of traveling teams. What did you do? What did you do from a sports point of view in the summer?
Now you're really dating me, okay? But I'm going to go back. I think people don't realize, and this is in the 70s, early 70s. Let's just stay in the early 70s. Is at that time there was no team camps,
right?
Okay, I think the year after I graduated was the first time that MMA could make it legal to where you could have X amount of team camps for the summer.
Right.
Okay, or within that area between 74 and 78, I think and at that time it was, really basketball camps was just starting to getting caught on to as far as, and I got great stories with that. Dick Hunsaker, which is a very well-known coach. Was the coach of the year at Utah, and was coach of the year at Utah Valley, and coach of the state at Ball State. So I get coach of the year at all three, and a great resume. Former teammate of mine, and he was probably him and I was starting a basketball camp. So when we had the first Clovis High School Clovis camp, and it wouldn't happen without Jimmy Joe Robinson and some, and some, Bubba Jennings' dad. I mean, you think about people that, and Nelson Franz's dad, Roy Franz, they were all kind of, egging this on or promoted it, and they had, they were superintendents and athletic directors at the time, and they really embraced it, and that was the start of, and still to this day still exists, the Clovis basketball camp that, starts the summer off. But that was, you look at my career as far as, back to Clovis, the Clovis, I would never change my high school career at Clovis or change it. I have had so many great memories and great things about Clovis, and just the people and respect they had, not just for basketball, it was for all the sports and all the accolades that has came with Clovis.
Yeah. So talk a little bit about your junior, senior year. You obviously have some basketball success. What's going on basketball-wise, and then what's going on recruiting-wise to talk about going to play at the next level?
Well, I tell you, it's an interesting story. Jimmy Joe Robinson, okay, Hall of Fame coach, just a great human being and a great mentor of mine. He took over the job my sophomore year, okay, and then, it was very hard. He took a risk on me. A sophomore, played varsity, which was uncommon in those eras.
Yes.
I mean, today it's, freshmen play and sophomore. It's not as big, big as, accomplishment. But at that time, I was one of the first sophomores to start. Not start, at the end of the year I was starting on the varsity level, and actually made all district as a sophomore. And I think his passion of basketball and sports contributed to me, but besides myself being behind a basketball, a sports-minded family. My dad and uncle played on the state championship, and there was only like 3 state championships in Clovis, and they played on one before that time. That was Cecil Davis and Bruce Davis, and so I kind of had, and we'd never been to state since that time.
Right.
So I think his goal was, like I tell all coaches and tell everybody, your first really is to win district. Yeah. Okay. I mean, when you're becoming a new coach, you want to set your kids to win district. Okay. And so that's your first goal. Don't go. Everybody wants to go to win the blue trophy, and then our second goal was to get to the state, and then our third goal was to get to win state. Well, my junior year, we was the first time we'd gone to state in almost 20-something years or something like that. So that was a great accomplishment for Jimmy Joe Robinson, but that also set up the stages for Bubba Jennings and Nelson Franz, because 3-4 years later they did win the state championship. Right. So it was his program, getting his system in, and I was the beginning of that. So I think I'm proud of that. Legacy to have. I was the first group of guys to be part of Jimmy Joe's coaching. Yeah,
and back in those days, there was some competition in that southeast part of New Mexico in the big school.
Well, you would have to bring that up. I think I got to listen to this all the time. There's a guy named Ralph Tasker in Hobbs, New Mexico, and I want to say that with pride.
Yeah.
0-6, but let's put a little apostrophe or put a little hashtag asterisk on top of it. Let's put a little is that I had career games against them. And I think and it was so frustrating, to be I had 37. I averaged over 30-something points against Hobbs. But I also got beat 30 points every game. So that's, you look at you go, how great is this, the legacy in Ralph Tasker and Hobbs, I have great respect for him, but that's, if you're going to be in second place, it's a good place to be behind, Ralph Tasker. So.
Yep. Now, at some point, somebody from a school here in Albuquerque came knocking. How did that process go? How is recruiting from
You know what? That
UNM
was truthfully that was a really interesting. That's a story with. There's a lot of storylines in this. You know, I want to go back. My junior year, my senior year, I lost my father. Okay. So at that time, we missed out on going to the state championship. Okay, and there was 2 points. A guy named Milt Gibson. I don't know if you remember the name.
Yep.
Roswell Goddard. Went on to play for Kansas and had a great career at Kansas and has a son named a Gibson that played for the Lobos. So that's kind of the storylines that you meet in your playing days, and it's amazing how people kind of haunt you the rest of your life, once you're playing sports. But so basically we get to my senior year, and then the recruiting came, and we'll even go back the summer before that, and this was basketball camps.
Right.
Lou Henson had Rio Dosa had a basketball camp. Well, I went and I was very successful. And this is where the media became something that, by osmosis, has really helped me get to where I am today. Is because I'll never forget this. I had an unbelievable week, and I came home and I was tired. We played 1 week, and we played on teams and. Well, I didn't realize the radio, it's KCLV, the radio was actually keeping stats, there was the whole high school team, basically we all went. So, and there was like 8 or 9 of us that went there. And anyway, I had games, and I woke up one morning to it, and it was really, I had games of, 50, 60, and 70 points, so, and I had this coach, and I can't remember his name, but he just basically says, shoot it every time you get it. Just don't. He says, I want you to win, and so, but that was then all of a sudden that's when Lou Henson, I give the credit. Then all of a sudden the scholarships started coming in my junior year. I mean, Texas Tech, Myers, Coach Myers, that has a legacy at Texas Tech and recruited Bubba Jennings, and Bubba Jennings went in and had an unbelievable career, Southwest Player of the Year at Texas Tech. And that was so amazing, the accolades. UNM came knocking on my door, John Wisnett, Norm Ellenberger, Lou Henson, Coach Myers, and even Haskins. So I had my 4 picks between the 4 schools.
Yeah, basically all the schools that are closest to Clovis took a look at you and wanted you to come there. That's pretty impressive.
And this is something I tell every recruit and tell every person, is you go where that assistant or coach wants you. And to this day, the reason I'm here at UNM, went to Albuquerque, was John Wisnett. He sent me a letter every day, sometimes 2 letters every day. I almost got tired of, open the letters up, but I mean, that was, and it's kind of, by osmosis, I learned that's how you do things. You just keep going at it and keep going with it. And so he was one of the main recruits, and I can really say that he knew how to do the gray area at the time of recruiting, okay, and I was in Albuquerque almost all the time. I mean, there was a guy named Bob Bowers, Bowers Electric, he would come in and fly me in, and we'd come to Albuquerque, and it just seemed like for my spring of my senior year that they really wanted to. And it was very heartbreaking to have to tell Gerald Myers and Coach Haskins, and I had to talk to him as a man, and that I went to UNM.
Yes.
And then there's a great friend of mine to this day, Norm Day, helped me get through the death of my father. And he said, look, Steve, you can go to all these schools and have a good career. He says the difference at UNM is you can go to UNM and not play one minute, and people will remember you the rest of your life. You can't buy that advertisement that you're going to get for being a Lobo player, and that's true.
And that is true. And we
and
saw
so that's
that
so whenever I talk to a recruiter, and I said I'm not, you know, I had a great career at UNL, but I wasn't a starter. I wasn't, you know, I don't know if I was fortunate or I was in a situation where the blacks walked off and there was a little bit of, you know, controversy on the coach.
It was a rough time.
Well, and I became a star player and beat Haskins, and they were going on. You know, that was one of the highlights of my career. But you know, people don't realize. It was neat that I got out of New Mexico at the University of Mexico. I was the Sports Illustrated Player of the Week, which was a big back then for a guy that didn't. You know, like I said, my really 20 minutes with Ellenberger and Wisden style, I could only play 20 minutes. I was not good enough shape and I wasn't a good enough athlete to do it, but I could play defense.
Yep, very good. Well, that's all the time we have. Steve, thank you for visiting with me again. It's been great. We'll have you on here late in the summer again. You've been watching the ABQ show here on ProView Networks. Thanks for watching.